In the olden days, when you met somebody, especially somebody you knew, and you refused to greet the person can actually make a report at the palace. The person can actually summon you and will tell them that I saw this person and the person did not greet me. And you could actually be summoned to go and answer.
Ghana, my wonderful Ghana. Ghana, our beautiful Ghana.
We have a story to tell. We have the best in music. The people are so nice. Akwaba, welcome. We have the best in music. We have the best jollof. The people are so nice. Miawezolo, welcome.
A piece of Ghana with Kwan Pa. A piece of Ghana with Kwan Pa.
Welcome to A Piece of Ghana with Kwan Pa, episode 2 of the Greetings series. Greetings in the Akan setting of Ghana. In the previous episode, we looked at the time-specific greetings, how to greet in the morning, how to greet in the afternoon, how to greet in the evening, and their various responses. In this episode, we are looking at task-specific greetings. Now, when you meet somebody carrying out a specific task and you have to greet the person, how do you go about it? Now, let's start this way. If you meet somebody on his farm or doing his job, usually something rigorous, for instance, farming, for instance, fishing, for instance, cutting, anything that is a bit vigorous in terms of activity or task, this is how you greet. Aiko, Aiko. And there's always a response. Yai. Aiko. Yai. That is one aspect of the task-specific greeting. So when you visit somebody at the workplace and the person is working and you realize that the person is really working and you want to greet the person or draw his attention, you can simply say, Aiko. And the person will immediately know that you are talking to him or her. And the response is always, Yai, Aiko, Yai, Aiko, Yai. Now, there is another form of greeting when it comes to task specific. Again, when somebody is doing his job or her job and you want to greet him or her, you can simply say, Ejuma, Ejuma, or Ejumo, and then the person will respond, Ejuma ye. So you can simply say, Ejumo, or Ejuma, Ejumo, and the person will respond, Ejuma ye. This is a form of greeting that you do when you meet the person at the workplace. When the person is working, you do this kind of greeting. So it doesn't matter the time. It could be morning, it could be afternoon, it could be night, it could be evening. Whichever time it is, you can use the same greeting. When you go to the person at the workplace, you say, Ejumo or Ejuma Ejuma, and the person will always respond, Ejuma ye. And this is task specific. Let's move to situation specific, or what we also call event specific greeting. This is when a particular event or a particular situation occurs. Something happens and you have to greet. Let me give you an example. When somebody loses a loved one and you visit the bereaved, there's a way you have to greet the bereaved. Now, you don't say maachi or memamachi, maha or memamaha, majo or memamajo. Now, to express and share your condolences with the bereaved, the greeting you have to do is memau shedding. In the case where you are telling one person, if it's a group of people, you say memamu shedding. So you say memau shedding when you are expressing your condolences to just one person. If it's a group of people, you say memamu shedding. That is the case where there has been a specific occurrence in this instance when somebody is deceased and you visit the bereaved family or anybody close to the bereaved, the deceased. You have to express your condolences, and that is where you say memau shedding or memam shedding. That is for the case where somebody lost a loved one. Situation specific. Again, when somebody has an accident, it could be a vehicle accident, domestic accident, whatever accident it is, and the person survives, and you visit the person, you don't say memau shedding, but you rather say memau efrimu. Memau efrimu. Frimu means you got out. So you say memau efrimu. That is one way of saying memau efrimu. That is one way of expressing the situation specific greeting. Memau efrimu. If it's a lot of people, 2 or more, you say memamu efrimu. Now, this is the case where somebody has gone through an accident or an unfortunate situation and you want to greet the person. You are meeting the person for the first time and you want to greet. You say memau efrimu. Now, one thing to note is that this type of greeting, this situation greeting, you can actually add it up to the time-specific greeting. For instance, somebody has had an unfortunate situation, an accident, and you are visiting the person for the first time. If it's in the morning, when you get there, you can say memau achio, and then you follow it up with memau efrimu. So you can say memau achi na mesanso mau efrimu. You can actually use the 2 greetings, memau achi, memau efrimu. Now, it is not only in accident situations. When a lady is pregnant and she goes through delivery successfully, when you are visiting her for the first time, we take it that she has gone through a great ordeal, and so you still will wish the person the situation specific greeting. So you say memau efrimu, memau efrimu, and the response usually is medase, which means thank you. I already told you that in the Akan setting, as far as greetings are concerned, there must always be a response. It could be verbal response, it could be gesture or cues. And so when you visit this person who has just delivered, who has just given birth, and you want to greet the person, you can say, if it's in the afternoon, memawaha na mesamao efrimu. Another way of putting it, if you don't want to say memau efrimu, you can say utrinkwa, utrinkwa, and the person will respond mitri dase, utrinkwa, mitri dase. So when somebody goes through an ordeal, a painful ordeal, or somebody goes through a calamity or mishap, for instance, Yankasa Emra, when armed robbers attack somebody and thankfully the person survives the attack from the armed robbery, when you are visiting the person for the first time, you will say memau efrimu or memau trinkwa. You can use those interchangeably. And again, I said that you can actually do the time-specific greeting and then you add the situation or event-specific. And so you can say memau ajo. In the case where you are paying the person a visit in the evening, you can say memau ajo and then you add memau trinkwa or memau efrimu. And the response is always mitri dase in the case of memau trinkwa, and then medase in the case of memau efrimu. Now, let me add the final thing before we end this episode on greetings. I mentioned earlier that when you meet somebody, you have to greet the person in the Akan setting. Once you make eye contact with the person and you refuse to greet the person, it means that the two of you have an issue, an unsettled issue. Meanwhile, there may be nothing like that. And so to avoid ambiguity, whenever you make eye contact, when you are in Ghana and then in the Akan setting, you have to greet. Always make sure that when you make eye contact with anybody, greet the person. If it's in the morning, machi. If it's in the afternoon, maha. In the evening, majo. So that we know there is nothing between the two of you, no issue between the two of you. In fact, in the olden days, when you met somebody, especially somebody you knew, and you refused to greet the person can actually make a report at the palace. The person can actually summon you and will tell them that I saw this person and the person did not greet me. And you could actually be summoned to go and answer at the palace why you saw the person and you did not greet. If there's an issue, they settle it amicably. Now, the same is for the reverse. If somebody greets you and you refuse to respond, the person who does the greeting can equally summon you at the palace for the case to be settled. And so in the Akan setting, make sure you greet, and make sure when somebody greets you, you respond. The final thing I'd want to say is that though greeting is very important, there are certain situations which request that you do not greet. That one, you are not required to greet. This is the situation. When you are pressed and you are going to the washroom or you are going to the restroom, you are not required to greet for different reasons. One of which is that you may be extremely pressed and you have to rush to the restroom, and so there will not be any need to greet. Again, because you are going to the restroom to make yourself clean, we want you to rather come back clean and do your greeting, and not when you are on your way to the restroom or to the washroom. So in the Akan setting in Ghana, the only time you are allowed to ignore greeting, even if you meet the chief or the king, is when you are going to the washroom or you are going to the restroom to ease yourself. All right, and ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of episode 2 with A Piece of Ghana with Kwan Pa, the greetings series. In the next episode, episode 3 of the greetings series, we are going to look at the greetings required when somebody pays you a visit and the person is leaving. There's a particular way you must greet the person, or you must address the person, or there's a special wish you must have for the person in the form of greeting. And we'll look at that one in the next episode. Again, we'll look at what we call vocables in Akan greetings. See you in the next episode. Thank you so much.
ebe
Maweni Jese wo free Ghana. Maweni Jese wo ye Ghaneni.
Ghana ya nishemaye
Ose,
yewo koko wo meimo
ose,
yewo tima wo meimo
ose,
yewo oyo wo meimo
ose,
afe kwampa yewo meimo
ose,
ah,
ose, ye Ghana.
mese maweninye sewu free Ghana maweninye sewu ye Ghaneni maweninye sewu free Ghana maweninye sewu ye Ghaneni Ghana ya nishemaye
Ose,
yewo koko omeimo
ose,
yewo tima omeimo
ose,
yewo bauxite omeimo
ose,
afi ejako nimo owo omeimo
ose,
palm wine music yewo omeimo
ose,
Kwan Pa yensu yewo omeimo
ose,
every year